Part 32. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 311. Suchen handed Gongshaban a bowl of wine. He took out the silver ball and asked in a deep voice, if I integrate the power of blood in this ball into your body again, will your lifespan return to normal? It's useless. Gongshu Ban pointed to the sky and said meaningfully, this is God's will and cannot be violated. Old friend, you don't have to worry about me anymore. He clinked the wine bowl with Suchen and drank it dry. The sallow face finally recovered a trace of blush thanks to the alcohol. Gongshaban leaned on his iron staff, pointed at the center of the palace magic circle, and said to Suchen, old friend, come on, the ancient secret starts from here. Suchen raised his head and drank the wine in the bowl, and nodded solemnly. When the public transportation team retreated to a safe place, Suchen held the heavy sword, killing the heavenly emperor in both hands. A sword stabbed down hard. The holy skill, annihilation of all directions. Boom, 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 100 meters long crisscrossing golden light waves rushed out from the tip of the sword. It rotates like a drill bit, rumbling into the ground. In an instant, a huge pothole with a depth of 200 meters appeared in front of Suchen. Not enough. The location is about 1,000 meters underground. Gongshaban closed his eyes and sensed it, then slowly shook his head. Suchen nodded, jumped into the bottom of the pit, and continued to stab the cross light waves one after another. After 5 consecutive attempts, the kilometer-deep hole was suddenly penetrated. A cold wind carrying a strong ancient aura roared out from the bottom of the cave. Pass. Suchen's eyes lit up, and together with Gongshaban, he stood on the floating disc and fell down. Soon, Suchen discovered that an extremely huge space appeared below. One by one, space-time crystals were scattered. Below, there are so many, so tempting. What the hell? There are so many space-time crystals, more than the small mines found in the ancient mountains. Suchen immediately scattered 1,000 mining robots to collect these scattered space-time crystals. Gongshaban coughed for a while, pointed in the distance and said, look, that should be my distant ancestor. Suchen followed Gongshaban's gesture and looked over. His eyes suddenly widened. In the huge space, an ancient ape with a height of 3,000 meters was sitting on the ground. His eyes were closed and his body was covered with long silver hair. Place one hand on the leg. Stretching one hand forward into the air, the palm was slightly bent into an arc shape, as if it were placed on a giant ball. This action made Suchen suddenly imagine a picture. An ancient ape that looked like a giant beast from ancient times sat in an even larger space-time fortress, controlling the spherical heart of time and space under his hand to fight powerful enemies. Suchen roughly estimated the arc of the ancient ape's palm shape, if there really is a giant heart of time and space below. I'm afraid the diameter of this heart of time and space is at least 1 kilometer. Calculated according to the diameter of the intermediate time and space heart in his own time and space fortress, the grade of the time and space heart controlled by this ancient ape should be at least high level, or even stronger. Is this the ancient man who controlled the time and space fortress in ancient times? Suchen muttered to himself. Gongshaban called Suchen, stood on the floating plate, and flew to the neck of the ancient ape. Only then did Suchen discover that this ancient ape actually had a nameplate hanging around its neck. The nameplate, there was a series of strange characters engraved on it. The public transportation class carefully identified it, and after a long time, he slowly shook his head and said, the ancient bloodline in me is too thin, and I have only awakened a very small amount of ancient knowledge. I can only make out the first 2 characters and the middle 4 characters on this nameplate. Suchen quickly asked, what does it mean? It should be the fate star, the meaning of fortress of time and space. As for the other things, I don't know. Life star? Time and space fortress? Suchen frowned. As he expected, this ancient ape was indeed controlling a giant time and space fortress. But for some unknown reason, the core of the time and space fortress heart of time and space was missing. However, what does that fate star mean? Suchen asked. Gongshaban looked at the ancient ape, his cloudy eyes were a little dazed, and he shook his head and said, I don't know, maybe it refers to a certain star. Suchen's frown deepened upon hearing Gongshuban's speculation. Could it be that ancient people came from this so-called fate star? But why is this fate star never mentioned in the game information of the God's Domain online game? Ancient people are not creatures on the divine continent? Just when Suchen was deep in thought, Gongshuban suddenly approached the ancient ape, stretched out his hand, and covered the huge hair of the ancient ape. He murmured, O distant ancestor, you summoned me here, but why didn't you make any clear statement? Am I not qualified to know the secrets of ancient times? Suchen stepped forward and comforted, don't worry, your distant ancestor has passed away long ago. Maybe it's just the blood in your body that allows you to sense its existence. Immediately afterwards, Suchen's heart moved, and he suddenly said, I suddenly have a hunch that the ancient secret is very involved, and I'm afraid it won't be so easy to solve. Suchen said as he patted the ancient ape's 100 or 200 meters long hard silver hair. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. The silver ball in the backpack space suddenly flew out. It landed on the head of the ancient ape. Spinning rapidly, wisps of mysterious power were extracted from the ancient ape's body and entered into the silver ball. The silver ball grew stronger little by little. The ancient ape's body gradually became illusory and transparent. This. The Gongshaban looked at the scene and was so horrified that he could not speak. Suchen was also confused. Wait until the silver ball grows to the size of a basketball. Only then does this extraction process stop. At the same time, the body of the 3,000-meter-tall ancient ape completely collapsed into nothingness. At the same time, the nameplate on his neck and a black chip fell down. Suchen quickly caught it. At the same time, he put the silver ball slowly floating in the air into his backpack. Ding! You get ancient mysterious nameplate *1. Ding! You get time and space fortress space teleportation device blueprint *1. Ding! You get pure ancient bloodline *1. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 312. That black chip is the drawing of the space teleportation device of the Time and Space Fortress. The space teleportation device of the Time and Space Fortress. Suchen was shocked and quickly checked the chip he got. Time and Space Fortress space teleportation device blueprint. Level, demigod level. Function, click this blueprint to create a Time and Space Fortress space teleportation device. Installed in the Time and Space Fortress, it can condense enough energy to teleport to any teleportation point within 100,000 kilometers. Teleport casting time, 10 seconds. Cooldown, none. Energy consumption per transmission, 1 unit. Note, the transfer point must have a space mark. If there is no space mark, it will be transferred randomly. In combat mode, teleportation is still possible. It actually allows my Time and Space Fortress to teleport over long distances. And you can teleport even during combat. In other words, with this space teleportation device, my Time and Space Fortress has a life-saving skill. This space teleportation device is so awesome that Suchen has the urge to build it on the spot. When I get back, I will build this device as soon as possible. At that time, my Time and Space Fortress can enter and exit any battlefield at any time. Suchen then looked at the silver ball again. Pure ancient bloodline. Grade, ancient grade. Description, pure ancient bloodline is condensed in it, and it seems to be vaguely able to interact with something. Suchen couldn't understand the silver ball. However, it was stated in the previous mission prompt that Gongshaban knew how to use it. Immediately he took it out and handed it to the public transportation class and asked, "What's the use of this thing?" The public transport class didn't pick it up, but looked at the silver ball the size of a basketball with great emotion and said, "Ancient bloodline carries not only ancient memories but also ancient knowledge. However, this kind of memory and knowledge will slowly disappear as time goes by. This ancient bloodline no longer carries any information. However, using ancient sensing technique, one can use its pure ancient bloodline to sense ancient objects within a certain range. It is an excellent help for finding ancient heavenly creations such as fragments of heavenly books, as well as ancient minerals. The reason why Queen Naga withdrew my bloodline was to pay tribute to the six realms. The gods and demons of the six realms have also been looking for ancient relics. I am afraid that no one in the entire six realms can possess such pure ancient blood." Su Chen frowned. The six realms have existed for so long, but they haven't obtained the corpses of ancient people. Won't they refine the ancient bloodline? Gongshu Ban let out an old laugh. No one in heaven or earth, in the six realms of God's domain, can extract ancient blood from an ancient corpse. This is the characteristic of ancient bloodline. And long before the six realms were established, the ancient people and their glorious civilization had already become extinct. In the entire divine continent, there are only a handful of people like me who carry an extremely thin trace of ancient blood, and most of them have not awakened ancient memories. Even if they awaken, like me, they can only awaken a little bit of incomplete memory and knowledge. Suchen was stunned. Then why just now? The public transportation class laughed loudly and said something that shocked Suchen. Because you do not belong to the six realms of heaven and earth, because you have the most special and noble Dragon King bloodline. I don't belong to the six realms of heaven and earth. Suchen was stunned. Is it because I am a player? The public transport class laughed so much that tears came out of his eyes, but his old body became weaker and weaker with the passage of time. The weight was placed on the iron staff, and it was teetering. But a pair of turbid eyes revealed an unprecedented strange light. "Old friend, whether you were the Qing Emperor 1,000 years ago or you are now, you do not belong to the six realms of heaven and earth. I have ancient blood in my body, I can sense it from the first moment I see you. Do you know, when I first saw King Di and you for the first time, my soul, including my blood, was trembling. That feeling was like facing a giant beast from the wild, facing an incomparable and indescribable terrifying existence. You are my natural enemy, the natural enemy of all ancient people, the natural enemy of all races and creatures in the six realms of heaven and earth. You are the master of everything. It is the supreme existence that devours all things. Regardless of ancient times, the six realms, the four seas, or the eight wastes, you are the supreme of this world. Therefore, even the dead bodies of ancient ancestors do not dare to disobey your wishes and actively donate their bloodline power." The words of the public transportation class were like thunder on the ground, shaking Suchen's head so much that he was buzzing. Am I the enemy of everything? The supreme being that devours all things? Well, I'm so awesome, why can't I feel it myself? Bang bang. The iron staff fell to the ground. The public transportation team could no longer stand and fell on the floating plate. Suchen was shocked when he saw it and was about to help him up. "Mr. Ban, what are you doing?" Gong Shiban's face was as pale as paper. He slowly raised his hand and waved it. His voice became extremely weak. "Old friend, please allow me to call you this for the last time. It is the honor of my life to decipher ancient times with you. I don't have much time, Qing Emperor from thousands of years ago, let me bring you a message." Suchen was shocked. The Qing Emperor of the Great Yan Empire, the invincible being who swept across the six realms and slayed the heavens and the earth, is there a message for me? How does he know I exist? The public transportation class sucked in air like a broken bellows and said intermittently, "He has been searching for who am I all his life? I hope you can find this answer." Snap! Gong Shiban's hand fell to the ground, his eyes slowly closed, and there was no more sound. The floating plate beneath him lost his control and began to fall. Suchen quickly held him up. There were all kinds of mixed feelings in my heart, and my mind was in a mess. Shocked, confused, sad, lonely. For a moment, Suchen had a violent feeling of cutting open this underground space, cutting open this world, tearing apart everything, and seeing clearly all the unknowns and all the truths. At this moment, the body of Gong Shiban on the floating plate gradually grew long silver hair all over his body. Just like the 3,000-meter tall ancient ape before. Immediately afterwards, it gradually became illusory, and finally collapsed into dots of starlight and disappeared. There was only a palm-sized jade slip left on the floating plate ancient induction technique. In the empty and silent underground space, Suchen was suspended in mid-air, holding the floating plate in his hand, and stood there for a long time. I do not know how long it has been. A long sigh sounded in the huge underground space. Suchen fell to the ground and buried the floating plate used by the public transportation team in the ground. Then he swung his sword and cut out a 10-meter tall stone tablet with the words Tomb of Gong Shiban written on it and stood in front of it. Then, he bowed to him 3 times with a solemn expression. Take away 1,000 mining robots and put the space-time crystals that have gathered into a pile on the ground into the backpack space with a wave of your hand. Ding. You get time and space crystal *10,000. Suchen didn't look at this place again and ducked back to the ground. It's strange to say. After Suchen returned to the palace, the 100-meter diameter deep hole dug out started to slowly close again. It eventually recovered. Just like before, as if it had never appeared before. Ding. Congratulations on successfully completing the God-level hidden mission Ancient Wind, 2. After reaching level 150, please go to Well of Gods and Demons to trigger the God-level hidden mission Ancient Wind, 3, Secret of the 6 Realms. Beyond level 150, you will permanently lose the quest. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 313. When Suchen heard the mission prompt, his heart moved. Next time, will it be about uncovering the secrets of the 6 realms? Suchen had never heard of a place like the Well of Gods and Demons. I'm afraid it exists in the 6 realms, and you need to get through the abyss before you can go there. Gong Shiban's words were probably coming from his heart due to his ancient bloodline and his reaction to Suchen's Dragon King bloodline. After experiencing the initial shock, Suchen put it in his heart and stopped thinking about it. As for who am I of King Di, Suchen said. I am who I am. He is the most handsome boy in the world. Fuck you. Those who disturb my mind will have many worries today. Why bother because of other people's words? Only true strength is the weapon that can cut through all worries. Looking at the palm-sized jade slip in his hand, Suchen placed it between his eyebrows. Immediately a piece of information came into my mind. Ding. Congratulations on successfully obtaining the ancient skill, ancient sensing technique. Ancient induction technique. Grade, ancient level. Function, relying on the power of ancient bloodline, you will be able to use this technique to sense all ancient items within 10,000 kilometers around you. The closer the distance, the clearer the induction. Skill casting time, instant. Skill cooldown, none. Suchen tried to use this skill. The silver ball pure ancient bloodline in the backpack space immediately vibrated violently. At the same time, a light spot appeared in Suchen's mind. Although this light spot was not big, it was very close. It's on the seabed 3,000 meters south of the Magic Island. I wipe it? Did you detect an ancient object just by using it so casually? Suchen quickly dodged and came directly above the light spot. On the dark seabed, some marine creatures were curiously swimming around Suchen. The latter ignored these and closed his eyes again to sense. Just under the sand on the seabed, about 10 meters. Suchen killed him with one. All directions are destroyed. The golden light waves of the cross rotated downwards, quickly uncovering the ancient objects buried below. It is a pile of hexagonal dark blue crystal pillars, with extremely huge energy hidden within. Suchen was curious and put it in his backpack. Ding! Congratulations on getting the ancient energy crystal *10,000. Energy crystal. Grade, ancient grade. Function, can provide pure energy *1 unit for time and space fortress. I just obtained the space teleportation device of the time and space fortress, and here comes the energy crystal. Yes, these energy crystals can allow me to teleport 10,000 times, which is enough for a long time. Suchen returned to the magic island and tried to use the ancient sensing technique again. However, nothing was found this time. Obviously, there are no ancient items within 10,000 kilometers. Return to Naga Imperial City. 1 head and 5. The 10-meter-long golden dragon flew down, and the 8 desolate dragon knight turned over to the ground, bowed to Suchen and said, "General, all forces of the Naga clan have been eliminated. The Naga Imperial City has 100,000 civilians, 90,000 slaves, 1,000 merchants, and 6,700 pirates. They are all sealed in the city. General, please give me instructions." Suchen nodded. First, he established a teleportation array connecting Dragon City in Naga Imperial City. Then he brought the two sisters Yunfei and Hai Long over. "Brother, is this the Naga Imperial City you just captured?" Yunfei looked around curiously. Although the walls of Naga Imperial City were shattered by Suchen's dragon cavalry, it can still be seen from the buildings inside that the city is obviously a third-level main city. Hai Long's Princess Lingshuang's beautiful eyes widened and she said in disbelief, "Master, you actually occupied Queen Naga's imperial city. That is a being even more powerful than the Poseidon and the extremely cold Mosasaurus." Suchen smiled and nodded. "Well, by the way, kill the other soul-eating sea demon. In this way, all 3 sea gods will be wiped out, and the task of commanding the entire endless sea and integrating all the resources on the sea will be left to you." By the way, killed the soul-eating sea demon. The third Princess Ling Shuang's delicate body trembled. As a member of the Sea Dragon clan, they have heard the stories of the 3 sea gods since they were children. The soul-eating sea devil has a mysterious whereabouts and often appears and disappears. It is more frightening than the extreme cold Mosasaurus and the Naga Queen. It is an existence that must not be messed with. Unexpectedly, at the owner's place, he was killed after being taken along. That way, it was as casual as going out and buying some food. Hai Longju Princess Yao Kei hugged Suchen's legs and smiled silly, her big eyes full of admiration and attachment. "That look is so cute." Suchen couldn't help but pinch her pink little face gently. Yunfei nodded excitedly. "I will bring the Dragon City fleet over as soon as possible. Without the 3 sea gods blocking the way, it is only a matter of time before we conquer the endless sea. Ocean trade is now extremely developed. Profits at sea are almost twice as much as on land. If the resources of the entire sea were integrated, it would undoubtedly be a huge cornucopia for Dragon City, and it would be inexhaustible. This is more profitable than occupying 10 or hundreds of cities." Suchen nodded, thought for a while, and suddenly said to the void, "Leave Aiden, my people want to integrate the power of the endless sea. Please give instructions to your disciples to cooperate with my people's actions. In addition..." Suchen glanced at the third Princess Ling Shuang and continued, "In addition, I want the Hydra clan and the Kraken clan. Do you have any objections?" A voice like Hong Zongdalu suddenly came from the void. "I have a shitty opinion. but you better break my formation as soon as possible. It's too late. I won't come out when your strength surpasses mine. I, Levaden, was born to be raised and live as long as the sun and the moon, so I will not be your foil. Levaden's voice was as arrogant as ever. Suchen smiled. No problem. Besides, the third princess Ling Shuang and the ninth princess Yao Kewei of the Sea clan were shocked when they heard their ancestor's voice. Why were they not familiar with their ancestor's voice? It was awe and fear deeply ingrained in their bones. Unexpectedly, he actually talked and laughed with his master. It was as casual as ordinary friends. Moreover, those words that killed the Hydra and Siren clans, isn't it just for the vengeance of the Heilong clan's annihilation? The beautiful eyes of the third princess Ling Shuang turned red immediately, and her eyes were filled with tears. The master actually still remembers her blood feud. He even asked the ancestor to help. That's the ancestor. The overlord of the entire endless sea. How could her third princess, Ling Shuang, repay such a great kindness? At this moment, 2 consecutive system prompts sounded in Suchen's mind. Ding! Congratulations to your clone Black Dragon G Mengli for successfully completing the first evolution, achieving the 100-star qualification, and awakening God-level skills. Ding! Congratulations to your clone Umbrella Girl Sakura for successfully completing the first evolution, achieving the 100-star qualification, and awakening God-level skills. Hearing these 2 prompts, Suchen was overjoyed. Have Mengli and Yingying finally evolved? Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 314. The previous attributes of the 2 clones were extremely powerful. I don't know to what extent his strength will increase after completing the evolution this time. Suchen is extremely looking forward to it. Immediately, he told the 2 sisters Yunfei and Hai Long to take charge of the restoration of Naga Imperial City and the integration of the Endless Sea. He himself put away the newly established teleportation array and returned directly to Dragon City. In a flash, he came to the independent space in the secret realm of the Imperial City. Owner. As soon as they entered the space, 2 beautiful figures rushed over. One was hugging the front, and the other was hanging from the back. The key is that the 2 of them had just completed their evolution, and neither of them were wearing clothes. Suchen patted them both in embarrassment and said, Okay, put on your clothes and let the master see how strong you are now. Black Dragon G Mengli raised her little hand, and a tight black leather jacket wrapped her whole body, which made her body even hotter and more exquisite. He put his little hands behind his back and spun around in a circle, his big ruby eyes blinking at Suchen. It seems to be saying, Master, look at me, look at me, look at me quickly. She looks beautiful again. The umbrella girl Yingying held a red umbrella. With a touch of her hand, she put on a bright red traditional dress made of magical film. With her bare white feet, she wore a unique charm in her gentleness. Suchen checked the attributes of the 2 people. Black Dragon G Mengli. Level, 100. Race, Dragon. Qualification, 100 stars. Intimacy, 100, unwavering determination. Life, 5 million/5 million. Magic, 5 million/5 million. Attack, 500,000. Defense, 100,000. Skills, Split Dragon's Breath Physical Strengthening Greedy Forbidden Fire Meteor from Heaven Split the Sky, God Level, Dragon Roar, God Level. Equipment, Instant Strike Gloves. Umbrella Girl Sakura. Level, 100. Race, Ghost Clan. Qualification, 100 stars. Intimacy, 100, unwavering determination. Life, 4.5 million/4.5 million. Magic, 4.5 million/4.5 million. Attack, 400,000. Defense, 70,000. Skills, Power Control Fantasy God Level Engineer Creation of Ghosts Stepping on the Starry Sky, God Level. Equipment, Red Umbrella Staff of the Word Robe of Lingzi Dancing Spirit Pants Mystic Boots. Seeing the attributes and skills of the two clones, Suchen was very happy. These two girls have changed so much. His attributes are already comparable to those of a demigod. Suchen's current attributes are already abnormal, but if he doesn't activate God Descends to Earth, he's still not good enough compared to these two women. Moreover, not only did the two women's strength increase dramatically, they even gained magical skills. 2 items. First of all, Black Dragon G Mengli awakened the two magical skills Split the Sky and Dragon Roar. The Umbrella Girl Yingying awakened the two magical skills Divine Engineer and Starry Sky Step. Skill, Split the Sky. Level, God Level. Exclusive skill, Black Dragon G Mengli stretches out a claw, tears the space, and causes damage equal to basic attack * 1000% to all enemy units within a kilometer in front. At the same time, it will cause a short-term space turbulence effect. Units whose level is lower than the God level will have a 50% probability of being sucked into the space turbulence and disappearing completely. The cooldown time of this skill is 10 minutes. Skill, Dragon Roar. Level, God Level. Skill exclusive, Black Dragon G Mengli roars loudly, causing 5 seconds of stun to all enemy God level units within a kilometer range. Enemy units below the God level will have their stun time doubled for each lower level. This skill is ineffective against units of general level and above. The cooldown time of this skill is 5 minutes. Black Dragon G Mengli, a Splitting Sky, a full 10 times the kilometer range attack, and also has the effect of space turbulence and population disappearance. A Dragon Roar can stun all enemy units within a kilometer range for 5 seconds. If these two skills are used together, they are enough to make the enemy faint and die. In other words, from now on, Black Dragon G Mengli has truly grown into a boss-level existence that can suppress the entire audience. Let's look at the God-level skills of Umbrella Girl Sakura again. God-level Engineer has reached the same level as Suchen. From now on, Yingying can complete all engineering equipment independently and no longer needs Suchen's help. In addition, Star Step is also a powerful group attack skill. That was the move that the Umbrella Girl Yingying used before she became Suchen's clone, when she was still a god-level existence in the secret realm of the Imperial City, 4 steps to crush the whole place. It is also a magical skill to suppress one party. Skill, Star Step. Level, God Level. Exclusive skill, Umbrella Girl Sakura. Using this skill, you can take 7 consecutive steps in the void. The first step is to cause basic attack * 100% damage to enemy units within a kilometer range. The second step is to cause 200% damage. By analogy, the 7th step causes 700% damage. The cooldown time of this skill is 5 minutes. Sharp. Sharp. You two are awesome. Suchen couldn't help but praise when he saw the powerful attributes of the two girls. Ji Mengli and Yingying received praise from their master, their faces turned red with joy, and they jumped into Suchen's arms. They were so tired that they couldn't get up. Suchen looked at the equipment on the two women, and then looked at the equipment on his own. Compared with the strength and level of the three of them, they were all seriously lagging behind. Then he began to fuse the equipment. He took out the equipment obtained by killing the ancient terrifying beast. 15 level 100 semi-artifacts, Suchen activates infinite fusion. Ding. Spending fusion points * 300 million, your level 10 golden equipment instant strike gloves was successfully fused into a level 100 semi-artifact instant soul eater. Ding. Spending fusion points * 250 million, your level 30 golden equipment holy word staff was successfully fused into a level 100 semi-artifact forbidden Wenchen staff. Ding. Ding. Spending fusion points * 400 million, your level 15 semi-artifact Forbidden Zushan Emperor was successfully fused into a level 100 semi-artifact Forbidden Zushan Emperor. Ding. Spending fusion points * 300 million, your level 12 Dark Gold Equipment Lonely Mountain Guardian Necklace was successfully fused into a level 100 semi-artifact Guardian Lonely Mountain Chain. Ding. Fusion of all 15 semi-artifacts consumed a total of 5 billion fusion points. Suchan finally upgraded all the equipment of the three of them to the 100 and semi-artifact level. All of a sudden, the attributes of the three people skyrocketed again. The umbrella girl Yingying, relying on the attribute blessings of the 400 level semi-artifacts on her body, has a faint tendency to equal the Black Dragon Princess Mengli. As for Suchan, he alone has 10 level 100 semi-artifacts, and his attributes have been greatly increased. Licking his lips, Suchan checked his attribute list. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 315. Role, Junlin. Level, 100 Race. Human. Bloodline, Dragon King Bloodline, General God level. Qualification, 1050 stars. Talent, Infinite Fusion, Super God level. Occupation, True Dragon Crazy Fight, General God level. Position, Dragon General, level, 6. HP, 2,306,740/2,306,740. Magic, 14600/14600. Attack, 250,654. Defense, 112,854. Attributes, Physique 1690, Strength 88,124, Main Attribute, Agility 1355, Intelligence 1460. Skills, God Descends to Earth, Holy Level, Sister Shadow Clone, General God Level, Dragon Vision, General God Level, Beast King Strike, Legendary, All Directions Are Destroyed, Saint Level, Super Speed Evil Madness, Saint Level, Shura's Strike, Legendary, Heaven and Earth Return to the Sect, Demigod Level, Flicker, Demigod, Barbaric Crash, Rare, Level 10 Business Mastery Shinayan, Demigod, Prospecting Technique, Holy Level, Mechanism Engineering, God. Level, Battle of the Eight Wastelands, God Level, Adaptive Resistance, God Level, Attribute Plunder, God Level, Ancient Sensing Technique. Equipment, Forbidden King of Heaven Emperor, Overlord Ring of Mad Power, Thousand Life Divine Ring, Void Ghost Realm Heavy Helmet, Void Kunpang Cloak, Shao Lonely Mountain Chain, Void Ghost Realm Armor, Void Ghost Realm Heavy Legs, Void Ghost Realm Heavy Boots, Void Ghost Realm Wrist Armor Title. God Killer. 2.3 million lives. Attack 250,000. Defense 110,000. Yi Shui's level 100 semi-artifact equipment, plus 2 level 100 artifacts hidden in the body, and the backpack also contains Mirror Scepter Dragon King Jade Pendant Solomon's Crystal Ball 3 artifacts. If such abnormal equipment and attributes were to be announced, billions of players around the world would probably shut themselves down. You know, most players are still struggling with level 50 missions and secondary job transfer missions. Suchan's equipment and level have already reached the peak of the mid-game. Of course, Suchan's target is the 6 realms of gods and demons, as well as their agent forces in the divine continent. The current attributes of his body are enough to harden a demigod who is suppressed by the rules of the divine continent. If God Descends to Earth is turned on, it will become a god-level unit with 100% strength of hard steel. But if he encounters a general-level unit with full strength, Suchan will still have no choice but to run away. When encountering the Lord God, you can only rely on the heaven, earth, universe formation of the time and space fortress to temporarily save your life. Thinking of this, Suchen took out the demigod-level drawings of the space teleportation device of the Time and Space Fortress and began to build the space teleportation device. With this installed in the Time and Space Fortress, it will be more convenient to run around, attack cities, and chase enemies in the future. After taking out the demigod-level materials and other auxiliary materials, about half an hour later, a 10-meter tall spire stood next to the heart of time and space. The entire spire is black crystal in color, and there is a secret warehouse at the bottom for energy crystals. Suchen put in all the 10,000 ancient level energy crystals he had obtained previously. Buzz! The entire black crystal spire immediately flashed with bright lights. In a state of being able to be stimulated at any time. Ding! The current space-time fortress space teleportation device stores energy, 10,000 units, and can provide 10,000 teleportations. Transfer. Teleport. Please confirm the delivery location. City of Victory. Buzz. The black crystal spire suddenly lit up. The entire time and space fortress was instantly enveloped. Automatically locked the teleportation array space mark of Victory City. 10 seconds later, there was a violent spatial fluctuation. Suchen's time and space fortress has arrived above the War Overlord Guild City of Victory. It has to be said that after receiving a large amount of capital investment from the major chaebol, the scale of Victory City is still relatively large, covering a full 50 square kilometers. The city wall is also hundreds of meters high. There are thousands of sophisticated artillery pieces blessed with light magic installed on it. The power is 50% to 100% higher than ordinary sophisticated artillery. As the total war plot approaches, there are hundreds of thousands of War Overlord Guild players guarding the city walls day and night. In the northeast corner of the City of Victory, there is also a tall branch church of the Church of Light. Other various functional buildings are very complete. Millions of players are bustling in the city, which can contribute tens of millions of gold coins to the War Overlord Guild every day. It is already fat and ready to be slaughtered. Suchen scanned the general situation of Victory City and said to himself with great satisfaction. Then he said to the black dragon G Mengli, who was eager to try Mengli, use the fastest speed to crush it. Great master! G Mengli jumped up happily. It is her nature to love fighting. Not to mention that this is the first time that her master has asked her to attack a city alone. She has just completed her first evolution and has greatly increased her strength. She just wants to it's time to fight. After kissing Suchen hard, G Mengli turned into the true form of a 100-meter black dragon, roared, and flew out of the time and space fortress. At this time, in the guild building of the City of Victory, the War Overlord was racking his brains, trying to persuade the government of Country M to fully support his guild. The reason why a strong person is because of his perseverance. Every time he falls, he will get up again and again, and use any means to achieve success. War Overlord is such a person. Although Suchen temporarily lost national support due to his occupation of Naga Imperial City. But looking at the entire Northern M, and even Northern Europe, besides his War Overlord Guild, who else has more hope of becoming M? Where is the leader of the Chinese government in the game? The War Overlord stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows in front of the building, overlooking the entire prosperous city, thinking carefully about countermeasures. But he could never imagine a city that was even bigger than his Victory City. A behemoth 100 times larger had already appeared at an altitude of 10,000 meters above his head. Aim! A loud dragon roar suddenly sounded over the city. Millions of players in the city suddenly raised their heads and looked up. All they saw was the sky. At a very high place, a black spot descended rapidly. Tens of seconds later, a 100-meter-long black dragon with a slender body and black armor all over its body roared and swooped down. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! On the city wall, the members of the War Overlord Guild responsible for defense screamed shrilly. At the same time, a huge bell rang in the branch church of the Church of Light in the northeast corner of the city of Victory. A cardinal quickly rushed out of the church, looked up at the sky, and waited. Seeing the enemy coming from behind, G. Mengley's pupils shrank sharply. G. Mengley instantly locked onto the cardinal, the most powerful person in the entire city. The master said that he wants me to crush this place as fast as possible. A bright light flashed in G. Mengley's big ruby eyes. She immediately roared and activated her magic skill. The dragon roars. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 316. In an instant, a huge sound wave spread rapidly within 1,000 meters with her as the center. Everyone affected by this sonic attack, from ordinary players to members of the War Overlord Guild, from Templars to Cardinals, all fell into a state of dizziness. Among them, the most powerful Cardinal fell into dizziness for 15 seconds. Not to mention other players. Immediately afterwards, Black Dragon G. Mengley activated her magical skill again, split the sky. He slapped his paw towards the branch church of the Church of Light. In an instant, all space within a kilometer was torn apart. 10 times the damage bonus, equivalent to 5.5 million attacks, sweeping everything within a kilometer range. In an instant, everyone in the entire Guangming branch church was killed. Tens of thousands of other players also died. The corpses of Templars, Inquisitors, and Cardinals in these branch churches are also preparing to be resurrected using the resurrection order. But the raging space turbulence around them gathered the bodies of these people, pulled them into the void, and disappeared without a trace in an instant. Nearly half of the tens of thousands of Light Church NPCs in the field were sucked away and disappeared completely. Including the Cardinal, who had no time to do anything. Haha. Cool. So cool. G. Mengley looked at the devastated and messy scene in front of her, and her war-loving nature was more and more aroused. She immediately dodged and flew to the city wall, flicked her tail, and swung hard towards the 100-meter city wall. Boom! The victory of the city of Victory. How high the defense can be. It only has 2,000 points of defense and 1 million durability points. With just one blow, G. Mengley hit the city wall with cracks, gravel flying, and crumbling. The players on the wall, and even hundreds of them, were whipped away and exploded into a bloody mist. Such a violent and bloody scene, in G. Mengley's eyes, can only be described in 4 words: pleasing to the eye. It was followed by 2 more attack. The 100-meter-high city wall completely collapsed. The War Overlord, who was still dizzy, immediately heard a system prompt in his mind. Ding! Your city of Victory has been conquered by the player King's Landing. Please choose resistance, surrender, and surrender the city, or retreat and escape. Time limit is 1 minute. The War Overlord was extremely frightened. Unfortunately, he was in dizziness, unable to see, speak, or perform any movements. The 20-second dizziness almost caused him to collapse. What the hell? The God's Domain online game actually has a 20-second stun skill. What is going on outside? In 10 seconds, the city was destroyed. Who did this? Fuck. Then, a name like a nightmare suddenly emerged from my heart. King's Arrival. It must be King's Landing. This bastard, this devil, except him, no one in the game can conquer my city of Victory within 10 seconds. Snort. Do you want me to surrender and dedicate the city? There is no way. There is also a branch of the Guangming Church stationed in the city. Let these NPCs get on top first, and then I will find a way to evacuate the important supplies as soon as possible. Thinking of this, the War Overlord's panic-stricken heart finally calmed down a little. He never thought of relying on his own strength to resist Suchen's attack. The Naga Imperial City with a god-level sea god sitting there was completely destroyed by Suchen Occupy. No matter how stupid the war overlord is, he will not do anything that is easy to do. The top priority now is to evacuate the main materials and personnel in the city as soon as possible, leaving the Green Mountains without fear of running out of firewood. 20 seconds later, the dizzy state was finally lifted. The war overlord opening his eyes, he was about to issue an aid order to the cardinal of the Guangming branch church, when he suddenly saw the church falling apart in a void of turbulence. His eyes suddenly widened. This is the Church of Light. What about the cardinal? Where is his army of judges? What about the Templars? While the war overlord was stunned, a huge ruby eye appeared in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. And, what are you thinking? Black Dragon G. Mengli climbed on the guild building and asked curiously. War overlord. Boom. Bayaji. G. Mengli reached into the floor-to-ceiling window with a claw, grabbed the war overlord, and squeezed it gently. The latter immediately exploded into a bloody mist. Ding. City of Victory. The city lord war overlord has been killed by the player King's Landing. The system automatically determines that it is surrender and offer the city. Ding. Server-wide announcement. Dragon City. City Lord Junlin successfully occupied City of Victory. Player Junlin gets add 1000 prestige value for all towns in the server. Ding. You get the 5th city, and the Dragon General level is upgraded to level 7. The maximum number of Dragon Knights you can have, 10 million. The maximum level that a Dragon Knight can improve is level 70. The big red announcement message floated in front of billions of players in the entire server. All guilds, especially those in Northern Europe and Northern M, were full of panic. It's over. This bastard Junlin has finally extended his demonic hand to our player city. There are churches of light stationed there, but they are all occupied. Who can stop us people? Hateful. It happens to be on the eve of the total war plot. At this time, when we attack the city, what do we do to participate in the total war? Not only the player guild, but also the government of country M was shocked. The war overlord guild City of Victory that they had placed high hopes on was actually occupied by Dragon City so quickly. Then who else can they choose to do in the game? A leader? Even if he establishes a force, how long can he last in the hands of King's Landing? Put pressure on. We must put pressure on the government of country Z. This is not a simple game war, this is a real international issue. This is an extremely bad provocation. King's Landing and his Dragon City are starting a real war. M country's top politicians roared angrily. Each of these politicians knows the importance of the God's Domain online game. Hundreds of high-energy particle physicists have warned that the real world is very likely to be invaded by this online game. Once this happens, this kind of thing really happened. Whoever can occupy the commanding heights in the game can continue to maintain the hegemony of a great power in reality. As the top hegemon for more than 100 years, how could country M allow the emergence of threats and even destruction in the game? Do other forces exist? Find out the true identity of this King's Landing at all costs. Total war before the plot begins. I want him to disappear from this world. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 317. Suchen didn't know about the huge shock caused by occupying City of Victory, and would not pay attention to it. At that moment, he directly flashed and came to the city. Ji Mengli regained her girlish body, leaned next to Suchen, and said with a proud face. Master, how is Mengli doing? Great, Suchen gently pinched her pretty little nose. The latter narrowed her eyes and showed an expression of great enjoyment. At this moment, Yun Feiyan sent a voice message. Brother, did you capture another city so quickly? We are short of manpower. Dragon City, Ratchet City, Naga Imperial City, plus the current City of Victory, the defensive strength is diluted. which is somewhat detrimental to the subsequent total war plot. Yun Feiyan pointed out the hidden worries. Suchen smiled. Don't worry, this city is not for occupation. It's just that the pigs have been fattened and come here to harvest. Yun Feiyan was stunned for a moment, then chuckled. You are getting worse and worse. Suchen curled his lips, turned off the voice, pressed one hand on the outer wall of the city lord's mansion, and selected decompose. Ding. The city includes the city lord's palace, barracks, warehouses, guild buildings, griffin cages, shops. Will they all be disassembled? Keep the griffin cage and disassemble everything else. Ding. Being decomposed. Decomposition successful. Congratulations on getting fusion points. *151.6 billion. In the blink of an eye, the huge city of Victory turned into nothingness. Tall buildings, wide roads, and prosperous commercial streets all disappeared. Except for a lonely griffin cage, all other places returned to flat grassland. Millions of players, as well as hundreds of thousands of War Overlord Guild members, looked at the prosperous city, which turned into the African savanna in an instant, and fell into a deathly silence. Suchen took away the griffin cage. Although this thing is not good for he doesn't have much effect, but it's still good for Yun Feiyan, Half-Awakened Fox, Zunlong, and others. Ding. Your city of Victory has been decomposed, and the dragon level has been reduced to level 6. The maximum number of dragon knights you can have, 1 million. The maximum level that a dragon knight can improve is level 60. Putting away his clone G Mengli, he dodged and returned to the time and space fortress. This time, the harvest was pretty good. A city of Victory contributed more than 150 billion fusion points to him. It should be able to be used for a long time. It's been a while. The cities behind will be used to increase the protective energy of the heavenly universe formation. Try to increase the protection time of the primary god level to more than half an hour. As for occupying these cities, it's not time yet. For now, Let's Go said that the agent forces of the Six Realms are still the most powerful force on the God's Domain continent. Before these threats are eliminated, even if these cities are occupied, they may eventually be taken away by the other party. Instead of this, it is better to directly use them as resource income in the final analysis. Any war, including the competition of strength and power, is actually the competition of resources. Every time Suchen plunders the enemy's resources, he can weaken the opponent by 1 point. He can also become stronger by 1 point. This elimination under him, there will be a time when he will rule the entire divine continent. Suchen stood in front of the space teleportation device with a thought in his mind. Please confirm the delivery location. Sakura City. Buzz. The black crystal spire automatically locks onto the teleportation array space mark of Sakura City. 10 seconds later, Suchen's time and space fortress once again descended over the Sakura Purgatory Guild Sakura City. Master, Yingying wants to play too. When the umbrella girl Yingying saw that Black Dragon Ji Mengli had made a great contribution to Suchen, she said coquettishly to Suchen. Okay, this time it's Yingying. Don't worry, you two, there are still more than a dozen cities behind, which are enough for you to enjoy, Suchen said with a doting smile. Very good, Ji Mengli clapped her hands and jumped for joy, extremely excited. Thank you, Master, Yingying said sweetly, and then turned around and appeared above the Sakura City. This is a huge city built by the Sakura Purgatory Guild with all the efforts of the guild and even 1/3 of the financial resources of the R country. It accounts for the land covers hundreds of square kilometers. Unlike other countries, Country R has mobilized players across the country to choose the evil camp from the very beginning. After the Sakura Purgatory Guild emerged, Country R focused on building this guild. Therefore, after discovering the online game of God's Domain, after the signs of invading the real world, Country R is also the country with the most stable mentality. The city of Sakura, the city lives up to its name. Cherry blossom trees are planted everywhere. Since the city was settled, it immediately became a tourist attraction for many players. There is even light players from the camp came here to watch. The Sakura Purgatory Guild also specially opened up concession rights for players from the light camp, allowing them to enter the city from the evil camp. After all, compared to evil and light, the Six Realms camp and the free and independent camp are the biggest opponents and enemies. For this reason, Sakura City is more prosperous than Victory City. Tens of millions of players often shuttle through the city. Business is also extremely prosperous. Of course, as the pillar of Sakura City, the Dark Temple is also in the city. A branch was established. The leader of the Sakura Purgatory Guild, Kuroda Mito himself, successfully became the black-robed sole general of this branch last night and took charge of one side. Of course, this is a top secret between the Sakura Purgatory Guild and Country R, and is subject to the highest level of confidentiality. Fat, so fat. Suchen stood in the secret realm of the Imperial City, looking at the bustling city of cherry blossoms through the images reflected in the illusion, and couldn't help but sigh. The cherry blossoms held a red umbrella, and their bare white feet stepped in the void, heading north. The city wall came. The Sakura Purgatory Guild players guarding the city wall were stunned. They poked their companions next to them and asked, "Look. What is that? An NPC from the light camp? So beautiful. Do you want to issue an enemy attack warning? Warn your sister. A girl so beautiful and weak that I feel pity for her would come to attack the city? Will they be able to attack the city? Also, if appearance represents kindness, then she must be the Virgin Mary descending into the mortal world." Yingying walked all the way to the city wall. After waiting for a long time, these players did not attack her. She turned the oil paper umbrella in her hand, pursed her lips, and said with some confusion, "Are you not afraid of me?" There was a burst of laughter on the city wall. "What a cute little sister. Kawaii. Oh. My girlish heart has been successfully aroused by her. Do not care. I want to break through the taboo between light and evil and have a forbidden love with this little sister." The player's reaction made Yingying a little angry. Obviously, Sister Mengli didn't look like this when she attacked the city. The master told Sister Mengli before that we should attack the city quickly, so I will attack the city quickly. If I win this city, the master will definitely praise me. Thinking of her master's pampering and praise, Yingying smiled sweetly and activated her magical skill Starry Sky Step. Lifting up Bai Shenshen's little feet, she gently took the first step in the air. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 318. Boom. Suddenly, the entire sky seemed to shake violently with her kick. Everything within a kilometer range. From city defenders to sophisticated artillery, from mage towers to defense towers, from cherry blossom trees to passers-by, they were turned into powder in an instant. The entire city wall of Sakura City shook violently, and cracks crawled up like spider webs. However, this devastating step is just the first step with the smallest power of Yingying's 450,000 basic attack asterisk 100%. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. Other players on the same section of the city wall, thousands of meters away, saw this scene and let out heartbreaking shouts. Yingying smiled, very satisfied with their reactions. This is right. I, Yingying, should take action. This is the only way to have a welcome ceremony like this. Kuroda Ioha, who was placing player members in the Dark Temple branch in the city and training to become a Templar, suddenly heard a system prompt. Ding. Player Kinglin declares war on your Sakura City. Ding. The damage rate of your Sakura City wall has reached 30%, and there is a risk of the city being destroyed. Please repair the wall as soon as possible and repel the enemy. Kuroda Yufu was confused at first when he heard the notification sound. Then the souls of the dead appeared. Nani? The god of death King's Landing, declared war on my city. As soon as the war was declared, the city wall had a damage rate of up to 30%. Who else could do it besides that perverted Junlin? Kuroda Aio's heart suddenly became clenched. That hateful guy finally attacked my city. But I have become the black-robed sole general of the Dark Temple. If you want me to surrender, there is no way. Even if I sacrifice tens of millions of players in the city, I will still tear off a piece of your flesh. Kuroda's charioteer immediately issued a city lord's order to the whole city: 10 million pieces of jade, broken jade. Broken jade. But at this time, Ying Ying's second step has already been taken. Boom. The huge Sakura city trembled violently again. The cracks on the city wall, the largest ones, can even fit through a person. Ding. The damage rate of your Sakura city wall has reached 90%, and there is a great risk of destroying the city. Please repair the wall as soon as possible and repel the enemy. What? It has actually reached 90%. Kuroda's charioteer looked blankly toward the city wall, and then felt a sharp heartache. So what if the city is destroyed? Let you see the jade-shattering spirit of our country, our. Kuroda Yufu immediately used the sacrifice ability he had just gained as a black-robed soul general. The city was suddenly filled with black energy, wrapping up all the tens of millions of players in the city. The great dark god. I am your most devout believer. Boom. Ying Ying took the third step. The 100-meter city wall surrounding the giant city suddenly collapsed. Ding. Your city Sakura City has been invaded by the player Junlin. Please choose resistance, surrender the city, or retreat and escape. Time limit is 1 minute. Kuroda Yufu's face trembled, he gritted his teeth and ignored the city's system prompts, and continued to recite the spell. There were tens of millions of players in the city, all of them were surrounded by black energy, and their health points began to lose rapidly. What's this? Damn it! Evil players are indeed unreliable. I just brought my girlfriend here to enjoy the cherry blossoms, but you sacrificed me. Open the teleportation array. Let me go back. I am a player from country M. You cannot kill your father from country M. This is treason. The strange scene in the city naturally attracted Ying Ying's attention. Do you want to spend millions of lives in exchange for some kind of taboo power? It looks very interesting. Let Ying Ying study it. As a god-level engineer, Ying Ying has curiosity and interest in studying all things. Now activate the power control skill and start analyzing these weird powers. Just 3 seconds later. So it turns out that this is a very crude way of offering sacrifices. After analyzing the details of Kuroda's sacrificial method, Ying Ying stood in the void and curled her lips with some disdain. But then she thought, I can guide these powers to the Master's time and space fortress. I don't know. Can the Master's heavenly universe formation absorb this energy? At that moment, the red umbrella turned and Sue's hand waved gently. The power extracted from the lives of millions of players was diverted to an altitude of 10,000 meters by Ying Ying. Ding. Your Heaven Universe array has detected energy input. Do you want to accept it? Any thoughts and actions of Ying Ying are naturally clear to Suchen as the clone. At that moment, he also aroused interest and chose to accept. Ding. Your Heavenly Universe formation successfully obtained 100 energy units. Ding. Your Heavenly Universe formation successfully obtained 100 energy units. Ding. I am willing to sacrifice tens of millions of lives in the city in exchange for your great power to come to me. In the name of darkness, wipe out all disloyalty. At the highest point of the Dark Temple, Kuroda raised his arms and prayed loudly. His expression was ferocious and his eyes were crazy. Although the Sakura city is no longer blocked by the city wall, the tens of millions of players in the city are wrapped in thick black air and unable to move at all. The ritual spell is over. Kuroda Ifu is waiting with great anticipation for the power of the dark god to come. 5 seconds have passed. 10 seconds have passed. 30 seconds have passed. The imagined surge in power has not happened. Kuroda Ifu is a little confused. Ding. There is insufficient energy, and sacrifice cannot successfully induce the power of the dark god to come. Insufficient energy? How can the lives of 10 million players be insufficient in energy? Phew, it doesn't matter, I'll activate it again. Sacrifice. Kuroda Ifu was not discouraged and raised his arms and shouted again. The black air in the city suddenly became more intense. The speed at which millions of players' lives pass has also doubled. Grass. I fuck you. Is this going to sacrifice us all to death? When I come back to life, I will be at odds with the Sakura Purgatory Guild. Report. Exposure. Record a video. I want to sue the Sakura Purgatory Guild for flagrant violation of human rights. The players in the city were furious, and Kuroda's grandmother was greeted cordially tens of millions of times. Ding. Your heavenly universe formation successfully obtained 100 energy units. Ding. Your heavenly universe formation successfully obtained 100 energy units. Ding. Suchen sat with his feet up in the time and space fortress, looking at the skyrocketing energy of the heavenly universe formation, with a hint of satisfaction at the corner of his mouth. Well, Kuroda Aio, an old man, is still very good. He works hard and is not lazy. He is a model worker in the new century. Kuroda Ifu, who was praying hard, never imagined that he would sacrifice the lives of millions of players, bear countless infamy, and activate the power of sacrifice, but he would be kidnapped by Suchen. Soon, a minute passed. 10 million players have died, and a total of 9 million have died. 1 million shields are left to fight, and only a trace of blood is left. Heavenly universe formation. In this minute, a full 330,000 energy units were harvested. It's nearly twice as much energy as the previous investment in massive resources. The primary god level protection time has also reached a full 50 seconds. Sure enough, robbing is the fastest way to increase strength. Suchen laughed loudly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 319. Ding. The 1-minute time limit ends, your choice times out, and the system automatically determines it as surrender and offer the city. Ding. Server-wide announcement. Dragon City Lord Junlin successfully occupied Sakura City. Player Junlin gets add 1000 prestige value for all towns in the server. Looking at the big red server-wide announcement floating in front of his eyes, Kuroda Ifu stood on the top of the dark temple blankly. His arms were already raised, but he still refused to put them down. In other words, he was unwilling to put them down. He looking at the sky above his head, he wailed, "O dark god! Have you forgotten your most devout believer?" At this moment, a pair of white feet appeared in front of him. A beautiful girl wearing a colorful red dress and holding a red umbrella was looking curiously at the hysterical Kuroda Mayu. How was the sacrifice performed just now by you? Kuroda Ifu stared blankly at the girl with the red umbrella who suddenly appeared. It took him a long time before he suddenly reacted. His expression suddenly turned ferocious. Could it be that the sacrifice failed because of you? Before Kuroda Mito finished speaking, the umbrella girl Sakura said to him seriously. The master said that if you fail, don't blame others, but look for the reasons from yourself. Your casting technique is too crude. Apart from a spell full of loopholes, you don't even have the most basic seal. It's completely free range. This won't work. If you want to perform a perfect sacrifice, you must first understand the essence of life force, then thoroughly understand its propagation characteristics, discrete forms and energy dissipation rules, and then use its most extreme state to condense it into a bundle, and then combine it with your dark god communicates. Communication is not just a matter of a few spells. It is best to use shock seals, multiplication seals, and exclusive seals suitable for your dark god. Only in this way can we display the sacrifice skill that no one can interrupt, no one can crack, and it is 100% successful. Now, do you understand? The umbrella girl Sakura looked at Kuroda Mayo with concern, just like a hard-working gardener looking at the student with the worst academic performance in his class. Kuroda Mayo. For a moment, he actually forgot the overwhelming anger before. Some are just endless confusion and shame. Yes, it's shame. Teacher, no, the girl in front of him taught him so carefully and imparted knowledge to him without any reservation. But he can't even understand a single noun. Those strings of special nouns, propagation characteristics, discrete forms, energy dissipation rules, vibration seals, multiplication seals, what the hell are they? Why haven't I heard of any of them? But it sounds so powerful and reasonable. Could it be that it's really the reason why I'm so bad? Kuroda Yafu began to doubt his life. Wait. Having said all that, was my skill just interrupted by a dead girl like you? My cherry blossom city was destroyed because of you. Kuroda's charioteer reacted with a fierce look in his eyes. Go to hell. Death and withering. However, as soon as the skill was launched, it was interrupted by the umbrella girl Yingying. Alas, stubbornness. Yingying held a red umbrella in one hand and clasped the other behind her back, looking at Kuroda Ifa with eyes full of disappointment. Since rotten wood cannot be carved, then let's not get rid of this piece of rotten wood. A bad student really has his own shortcomings. Yingying took the fourth step lightly. Boom. The entire Dark Temple branch was turned into powder by this terrifying kick. Tens of thousands of undead knights and soul generals inside exploded into blood mist and fell into while waiting for resurrection. Kuroda Mifu also died from Sakura's attack damage of up to 45*4 equal 1.8 million. In his soul state, he raised his head and roared at the umbrella girl Sakura. When I come back to life, even if I sacrifice myself and summon gods and demons, I will still kill you. Yingying is proficient in power control illusion and ghost creation techniques. Kuroda Mayo is also a ghost himself, so he can naturally see the state of his soul. At that moment, she shook her head. Resurrection is not used like this. This is the disadvantage of not learning it well. She just waved lightly. Thousands of thin lines of energy shot into Kuroda Yafu and other undead knights and soul generals. Then with a handful of hands, countless resurrection orders came into her hands. Ding. You get Dark Temple Resurrection Order *30,000. The souls of Kuroda Mayo in the soul state, as well as the souls of other undead knights and soul generals, disappeared instantly without the resurrection order. Players were downgraded, dropped items, and resurrected in the nearest NPC town. NPC undead knights and soul generals will die directly. Ding. The player Kuroda Amy has been killed by you. The clone umbrella girl Sakura gains experience points *500,000. Ding. The player Koizumi Fuzawa has been killed by you. The clone umbrella girl Sakura gains experience points *5,000. Ding. Suchen, who was sitting in the time and space fortress, looked at Yingying's methods, and was surprised and happy in his heart. Huh? This method seems to be useful against enemies with resurrection orders. However, this method is ineffective for those who have resurrection skills or resurrection talents. Especially those like Levaden who have the talent of resurrection. There is no way to interrupt or strip them away. Next time, I'll study it with Yingying and see if we can create a way to interrupt the opponent's resurrection skills. Suchen thought to himself. Ying completed the siege mission and returned to her master. She leaned against him and said in a tired voice, "Master, how did Ying do this time?" Ying looked at Suchen with a pair of big eyes, full of expectation. "Very good." Suchen praised without hesitation. The umbrella girl Ying's face turned red with joy, and she buried herself in her master's arms with a cry. Her heart was as sweet as honey. Suchen controlled the entire time and space fortress and descended to the cherry blossoms below. City. Let the outer heaven universe formation wrap around the entire Sakura city. Then the energy transformation begins. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 320. Ding. Swallow Building City Lord's Mansion 1, contains materials, black brilliant building stone, mithril, elemental crystal, gold, silver, copper, Tianjikinkan grand array obtained energy units 21,000. Ding. Devouring Building Warehouse 1, contains materials, sulfur, elemental crystal, fine wood, fine steel, Tianjikinkan grand array obtained energy units 51500. Ding. Devouring Buildings. A quarter of an hour later. The city of cherry blossoms covering an area of hundreds of square kilometers was turned into an African savanna by Suchen. The total energy of the heavenly universe formation has also skyrocketed from the previous 500,000 to 1.1 million. The primary god-level protection time reaches 110 seconds. But it was only less than 2 minutes. It's still far from the half-hour goal. At this moment, Suchen started the space teleportation of the Time and Space Fortress again, locating the city of the Beast King of the Beast-Blooded Guild. Wait until the game goes offline. Of the 15 completed player cities in the server, 12 were occupied by Suchen and devoured into large formation energy. Wherever he went, not a single tile was left behind. The arrogance of his behavior is outrageous. Throughout the whole day of the game, billions of players across the server spent their time with announcements about Suchen's occupation of various cities. For a time, Country M was furious. Country R is furious. Country H is furious. Country Y is furious. While Suchen was enjoying breakfast, he turned on the news, and there were overwhelming voices from various countries denouncing King's Landing. Because Suchen has not released the real information about his real identity so far. When these countries failed to find Suchen for the time being, they put pressure on the Z government. He wants Country Z to hand over King's Landing and accept the trial of the International Military Tribunal. That's right, it's the International Military Tribunal. The same treatment as the war criminals of Country R back then. In this regard, the government of Country Z remains silent. There are mainly two voices in China. One is to hand over Suchen to calm the public anger. The other is to ignore international condemnation and show goodwill to Suchen. Generally speaking, there are more voices choosing the latter one. After all, Country Z is also one of the powerful countries. Although it pays attention to outside voices, it does not care too much. Especially when self-interest is involved. But Suchen didn't care about these. Because of the sudden increase in strength in the game yesterday, his physique has improved tremendously again. At the same time, it also brought out the second skill, the magical skill battle of the 8 desolations. Feeling the unprecedented explosive power in his body, Suchen said to himself, well, it should be no problem to fight against the state machine. That morning, Yun Feiyan found Suchen again. His expression was a little nervous and dignified. After confirming again and again that there were no surveillance around, Yun Feiyan whispered to Suchen. Brother, all kinds of forces around the world are looking for you now, the government and the underground. Although we are cautious enough, once the state machinery is activated, your identity will not be kept secret for long. And those bastard countries, on the surface, behave like gentlemen, but behind the scenes they are all male thieves and female prostitutes, and intrigues. If they really find your information, brother, they will use any means. Suchen smiled. What do you want to say? Yun Feiyan pursed her lips and said with some difficulty, for your safety, I think you should seek asylum from the country. This is not asking for compromise from the country. Brother, your current strength is enough to get the best conditions. Suchen raised his hand and interrupted Yun Feiyan's persuasion. Standing in front of the window with his hands behind his hands, looking at the traffic in the distance outside the window, he smiled at Yun Feiyan and asked. After dark energy transforms human physique, do you know to what extent this change has reached? Suchen suddenly changed the topic to this aspect, which made Yun Feiyan a little confused and unable to keep up with Suchen's jumping thoughts. After thinking about it, Yun Feiyan frowned slightly. Are you talking about the teleportation thing? Skills. Recalling the sexy scene that happened when Suchen suddenly teleported into her bathroom, Yun Feiyan's pretty face turned red. However, out of concern for Suchen's life safety, Yun Feiyan still shook his head and said, it's useless. Guns, cannons, bombs, lasers, venom, it's very possible to even piss them off and put a miniature atomic weapon on our land. Although your teleportation is powerful, in order to erase you, they only enlarge the damage area and kill more civilians. Yun Feiyan was born in a high-ranking family, so he is naturally very clear about the methods of various countries. For these countries, the so-called rules are just laws used by the strong to exploit the weak with peace of mind. Once their interests are touched, equality, human rights, humanity, kindness, all are bullshit. Suchen laughed. Let me tell you a secret. Of course, countries may have discovered this secret now. In the God's Domain online game, the stronger the player is, the stronger his physique will be in reality. Yun Feiyan frowned slightly after hearing this, not knowing what Suchen wanted to express. Well, let me demonstrate it to you and you should be able to understand it, Suchen said. When I came to the living room, the TV was playing the speech of the great elder of country M, who aggressively demanded that country Z hand over Suchen. You see, this is a live broadcast. Suchen pointed at the great elder of country M on the TV and said. Well, Yun Feiyan was a little confused. The word live broadcast is displayed in the upper right corner of the TV. Even this fool understands it. Immediately afterwards, Suchen's figure flashed and disappeared out of thin air. Yun Feiyan was slightly startled and stood in the living room at a loss, wondering what Suchen wanted to do. Machina smiled and brought a cup of fragrant tea to Yun Feiyan, and said softly, Sister Yun, don't worry, the master will be back soon. About 2 minutes later. Still not seeing Suchen, Yun Feiyan was holding the teacup, feeling a little restless. Suchen is very dangerous now. There are hundreds of military satellites in the sky monitoring our Jiangnan city at all times. Once discovered, the consequences will be disastrous. Yun Feiyan was so anxious that his nose was sweating slightly, and he said to Ex Machina nervously, can you contact Suchen and ask him to come back quickly? He doesn't want to be restricted by the country, but it really can't be done. I'll beg Grandpa to let him come back. Use your personal power to protect him. Ex Machina smiled, pressed Yun Feiyan on the sofa, and comforted. The master is fine, he just went out to show you, well, look, the master is not there. Yun Feiyan followed Ex Machina's fingers and looked over. A pair of beautiful eyes suddenly widened. His eyes were full of disbelief and horror. In the live TV screen, next to the great elder of country M who was originally talking endlessly, suddenly Suchen appeared. The latter directly pushed the great elder of country M aside, coughed twice into the microphone, and then smiled slightly. Good morning everyone, well, although it's night here. I am Suchen, also known as Junlin in the game. I'm not here to do anything, I'm just showing it to a silly girl to let her know that I'm safe and don't have to worry about me. Bang. Bang. Gunshots suddenly rang out at the M government press conference. Two M country agents shot at Suchen in front of the microphone without hesitation. The quick response and decisive action shocked the entire press conference. The scene was filled with screams. But who knew that the two agents who had launched the attack fell down? Suchen in front of the microphone was still safe and sound, and even seemed not to have moved at all. Well, one more thing, my life is very peaceful now. If anyone dares to destroy this tranquility, I don't mind destroying a city in reality just like in the game. After saying this, Suchanai retreated happily and disappeared, leaving behind a messy and chaotic press conference. Yun Feiyan, who was standing in front of the TV, was already dumbfounded.